sports.
We are Blackmore. We are Ohio.
The Big Apple, the biggest stage in America. A place where stars become larger-than-life legends of the game. The Tribe travels to New York, having scored 36 runs in their last 3 games, led by All-Stars Francisco Lindor and Jose Ramirez. The Bronx Bombers return home in winners of 12 of their last 13 games. Offense should be the story as 2 AL powers collide next on Sports Time Ohio. The Indians had themselves quite a day at the plate and an even better night. 13 runs, 16 hits, and that was just in Game 2 of their doubleheader as they split yesterday with the Toronto Blue Jays. Now it's on to New York, where they open up a 3-game weekend series against the Yankees. Hi again, everyone. Matt Underwood alongside Rick Manning. Beautiful, warm evening here in New York as we get ready to open up this series. This is a place where recently the Indians have played well during the regular season, and Francisco Lindor is swinging the bat very well right now for the Tribe. Rick, in his last 5 games, all multi-hit efforts, he's raised his batting average in those 5 games almost 50 points.
Well, we know he can get on a roll like that, and he's on one for the last 10 games. 5 homers, 10 RBIs, and Frankie can be a 3-hit machine. It seems like every time he goes out, when he gets one, he can double up and triple up. Well, he's been on a roll at the top of that lineup. It's been fun to see. The offense is rolling. Let's hope he can continue here in New York.
Well, Aaron Judge is going to be a handful to contain, and Giancarlo Stanton and Gary Sanchez, and on and on and on.
Yeah, Judge got off to a great start this year. He cooled down a little bit, but at home, 6 homers, 15 RBIs. He likes the little bandbox to right field. This guy's got as much power as anybody in all of baseball, so they're going to have to try and keep him in the yard and some of the rest of the Yankees. But let's go back to last year's ALDS. When you look at the 2 Indians, Jose Ramirez, Francisco Lindor, they struggled in the series, man. They were just 4 for 38. Ramirez didn't drive in a run. We remember that Lindor had the grand slam. And then you look to the other side with Judge and Sanchez. They struck out 26 times in 43 at-bats. So they can be controlled. They can be contained. Let's see if they can do it in this series. We hope so.
That's a big reason why the Indians have won 9 of their last 12 regular season games here in New York. Pitching, their ERA in those 12 games, just a tick over 3. We'll see if Josh Tomlin can get his season turned around coming up next. The first pitch is straight ahead right here on Sports Time Ohio.
Cleveland Indians baseball is brought to you by Who But WB Mason, the official office supplier of the Cleveland Indians, and by Cleveland Clinic Express Care online. Tap the app for 24/7 virtual visits.
It's going to be a packed house for this Friday night. Ron Howard, he's directing one of the new Star Wars movies, and he's here with the Star Wars themed night that's taking place. The stormtroopers escorting him to the mound.
Yes, everybody is here.
Throwing out the ceremonial first pitch. And we're just about ready for baseball now. Let's go down to Andre Knott for the very latest on what's happening with our Indians.
Well, our hear right sounds of the game. We'll hear from Terry Francona talking about where his bullpen is at right now. I can tell you some names. Zach McAllister, Dan Otero, Tyler Olson, all down tonight, aren't expected to pitch. And Tito talks about what his bullpen means to him and why he trusts them so much.
There's some guys that aren't going to pitch tonight, but because they pitched too much. Remember a couple weeks ago when everybody's saying, man, your bullpen hasn't pitched too much. And I think I told you, I said, they're going to be glad. There's going to be a day when they're going to be glad. Well, we're here. But like we were talking about before, last night I had 4 of them come to me in between games say, I'm available. I'm like, you numbskulls, no, you're not. But I appreciate it. I mean, Tomlin went down to the bullpen. He's starting tonight. Those are the types of things that our guys do that keep me going when things look a little tough.
So the Indians, you know, they're a little beleaguered, but, you know, these guys always want to saddle up and be able to answer the bell. That's the thing you admire about them.
This is going to be a great weekend to prove that they want to saddle up. It's going to be a tough series here in New York. And CC Sabathia is going to be our Northern Ohio Honda starting pitcher. For the New York Yankees, off to a good start. He's 2-0 with a fine 171 earned run average. It's his 6th start this year. He spent a little time on the DL from April 7th through the 19th with a right hip strain, but since he's been back, he's 2-0 and throwing the ball very well.
And here we go. CC Sabathia fires up high, ball 1, and we are underway. Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. Lindor pops this one back into the upper deck. 1 ball, 1 strike. Frankie is riding a 6-game hitting streak, but the last 5 each multi-hit games. Now the 1-1 in tight. That's what CC Sabathia does that has made him effective at this stage in his career. He's no longer the flame-throwing power pitcher he was, but he still pitches like a power pitcher in that he will pitch inside and he uses everything he can throw at you.
Well, he reinvented himself. I mean, his breaking ball is, you know, that slider, he slows down. Not many people can go from a power pitcher to a pitcher now that he can make that 88-mile-an-hour fastball work very well because he can spot it inside. He'll throw that slow breaking ball, the changeup away. He just knows how to pitch.
The 2-2 way outside and off the glove of Gary Sanchez and a full count. And what we saw last year from Sabathia in the postseason was a guy that even when there is traffic, he never gets rattled. He stays true to who he is on the mound.
Never gives in.
3-2. Swinging a foul. Sanchez couldn't hold it.
Well, he's unbeaten in his last 13 regular season starts dating back to August of last year, going 7-0 in those 13 starts. So he has been on some kind of roll.
Swung on and missed. He struck him out. It's only 87, but it's at the top of the strike zone. Tough to get up to it. 1 down. Rest of the Indians starting lineup brought to you by Progressive Insurance. For Terry Francona tonight, Jason Kipnis bats second. Jose Ramirez in the 3-hole. Then it's Edwin, Brandon Geyer, Yonder Alonso. Yan Gomes behind the plate hitting 7th. Rajay Davis starts in left field and bats 8th. Bradley Zimmer will hit 9th. Jason Kipnis takes a strike. Kipnis batting over 300 against left-handed pitching so far this year.
Well, Jason's starting to get his stroke back too over the last week at home. He's really put some good swings on the baseball and starting to use the whole field. Getting some to drop.
Fouled off. 1 ball and 2 strikes. $11 hits for Kip in his last 9 games. Pops one high in the air to shallow right. In comes Aaron Judge. And there are 2 down.
Well, let's set the Yankees defense now that we have an opportunity. Out in the outfield, it'll be Gardner, Hicks, and Judge. On the infield, it's going to be Andujar, Gregorius, Torres, Walker, and Sanchez.
Tim Timmons behind the plate calling the balls and strikes this evening. Tony Randazzo, the crew chief, is at first base. Lance Barrett at second. Lance Barksdale is at third. Jose Ramirez swings at the first pitch, pops it up, shallow center. Out goes Torres, and it's going to be the center fielder Hicks who makes the catch. And the Indians go 1-2-3.
Josh Tomlin will be the Northern Ohio Honda starting pitcher. And Josh coming off a start against Seattle where he had a 5-run second inning, but then really settled down and retired 12 out of the last 14 batters. He's going to have to be on point tonight, hit the edges. I hope that curveball is working. 3-3 in his career against the New York Yankees.
Josh Tomlin ready to go to work now. Brett Gardner to lead it off. And a fastball strike bottom of the zone. Gardner line drive to left and a great play by Rajai Davis for out number 1.
Nice pickup. Coming in on the backhand side for Rajai. Line drive. This is a tough play. That line drive hit right at you. He got a good jump on it. He's going to continue to go. And nice catch. Backhand side, out number 1.
Here's Aaron Judge. 7 homers, 19 driven in. Tomlin inside with the fastball just off the plate. Breaking ball just off the outside edge. And call a strike 1-1. Down and in, 2 balls and a strike. Down and in again. And it's 3-1. Left field, fair. Down into the corner. Rajay Davis will dig it out. Into second with a double is Aaron Judge, his 8th of the year.
Well, we showed you he hits very well in his home ballpark. And he had the hitter's count right there. And for Josh to be effective today against the right-handed hitters of the Yankees, he's going to have to throw the inside pitch for a strike.
Rest of the Yankees starting lineup for Aaron Boone, their new manager this year. Didi Gregorius, Giancarlo Stanton, big offseason acquisition. Gary Sanchez, the catcher. Then Aaron Hicks, Neil Walker, couple of switch hitters. Miguel Andujar and Gleyber Torres batting ninth. Man, Gregorius has turned himself into quite a player. 10 homers already, 30 runs batted in, and a .333 average. And a ground ball to Lindor. He can go to third, but the throw is high, and Ramirez did get the tag in time. In fact, Judge may have overslid the bag, and that aided the Indians' ability to get the out.
That's exactly what happened, because Frankie got underneath that throw to Ramirez, and he took him off the bag. But the smart thing that Ramirez did was keep the tag on him, as he's going to slide to the inside part of the bag, and watch him overslide the bag. It almost looked like his face hit the base. But watch the throw. He gets underneath it and brings Ramirez off, enabled him to get there.
Well, you're right. He landed hard on that base.
Yes, it looked like it. You know how hard those bases are. It looked like he hit his jaw.
Like jumping on a rock.
So they get the lead runner, a base running mistake there by Judge.
Now Giancarlo Stanton looks at a strike. Do you think maybe Lindor, the throw is high as you take another look?
Try to throw it around him?
Yeah. That's why the throw was high, because, you know, you got a guy 6'6", 6'7". How am I going to get it around him?
And plus Ramirez was going to the bag, you know, so he was moving. It's almost like you have to lead him too. Yes. But they got the out.
Isn't it interesting in this day and age? It seems like most batting stances that we see, guys are more open than so closed like Giancarlo Stanton.
Yeah, well, he's so strong. He did that last year. He closed that front foot in there, and you know it keeps his front side together. And he can shoot the ball the other way. The guy's as strong as anybody in baseball. You know, he will still chase the breaking ball down and away. You're going to have to move him off the plate. You make your pitches, you can get the swings and misses from Stanton, but when he gets into one of those grooves, look out.
Yeah, he's already had a couple of 5 strikeout games this year. But he can also hit it a country mile.
Yeah, he can. If you slow it and spin a breaking ball and throw a cement mixer up there, he can hit it a long way.
Straighten him up, 3-1.
You see, that's what I'm talking about. When you go inside on some of the right-handed hitters, you've got to throw it for a strike to prove you can do it. To this point, Josh hasn't been able to do it, but you don't want to miss on the plate. If you're going to miss, you miss in off the plate, and so far that's what he's done.
3-0, popped him up.
There you go.
Or 3-1 pitch, I should say. Popped him up. And they collide. Drops. No communication apparently.
That's Gomes has got to get out of the way. That is going to be Alonso's ball all the way. It had plenty of hang time. He never took his eye off it. I don't know if he heard Yonder calling for the ball or not. Let's see. He was quiet. I don't see any lips movement, so Gomes never heard him.
He was calling for it, but way before he got to the spot.
Yeah, he let up on it, so that's got to be an error, and I'm going to guess it's going to be on Gomes. That cannot be a no play. That ball's got to be, he's got to be out of the inning. So it is an E2.
Runner goes 3-2. Pop back our way into the crowd.
Oh boy, you don't want to give extra outs to an offense that's been on a roll.
And to a hitter like this.
Yeah, you just, you know, you want to make the plays, and that was a routine one that should have been made.
Back out of play.
It's the Yankees team too. They've had that right mix going where if they score first, they're in really good shape. They're 16-3 when they score first as a team. So you want to keep them off the board because they are a high potent offense.
Runner goes, payoff pitch. Just inside, ball 4.
Let's check that Tribe defense that is behind Josh Tomlin tonight. In the outfield, it's going to be Davis in left field. Zimmer is in center. Geyer over in right. On the infield, it'll be Ramirez at third, Lindor at short, Kipnis at second, Alonso is at first, and Gomes behind the plate.
Gary Sanchez. Sanchez has great power to all fields, and he likes to shoot for the short porch and right. A little low, ball 1. New York Yankees come into tonight's game third in the American League in home runs, 1 behind the Indians. But the Yankees are #1 in runs scored, averaging almost 6 runs a game. Good pitch inside corner, and it's 1-1. Tied him up with a good pitch.
Yeah, nice job staying inside, backing it up. Went inside with that first cutter for a strike in there, and then he goes up, and then he goes a little more, and it didn't cut. He had a little run to it. So now he's ahead of the count. See how he tries to put him away.
Tomlin with a 1-2 now in the dirt. Sanchez not chasing. Good block by Gomes. Evens the count 2-2.
Well, it's worth a try to see if he'll chase it down there, where you don't have to throw him a strike. He's not a bad breaking ball hitter. You can use the big part of the ballpark, as you mentioned, from right center to left center.
2 on, 2 out, 2-2 pitch, swung on and missed. Tomlin strikes him out to get out of the inning. So the error does no damage, but it does cost Tomlin quite a few extra pitches in the frame. No score after 1. You could see Gomes and Alonso talking it over, and it looks like Jan's telling him, I never heard you.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's saying.
I started thinking to myself, they probably haven't played in front of a crowd with a lot of noise like this in a while either. Maybe back to opening day, maybe in Puerto Rico, it was pretty loud in those couple of games.
Well, I remember it looked like his lips were moving back, but you know, I agree. When he got close, you got to continue to call.
Yeah.
This crowd, it's sold out. You mentioned it's loud, it's lively. They're excited about this Yankee ball club. They're going to be loud.
Edwin Encarnacion, last 10 games, batting over 300. Starting to pick it up. True to his word, as the weather has warmed up, so has he. And you take a look at the sold-out house. The 1-1. Upstairs, 2 balls and a strike. Boy, that one just shaved the edge, but that's an indication of what you said earlier, how he's changed as a pitcher.
Yeah, he set that pitch up too by going inside with a cut fastball inside, pushing him back, then backdooring the breaking ball. Then running one back in, you see in, out, up, down is what he's doing. CC has logged a lot of innings. He's had a great career. Second active in wins. Active pitcher in wins with 239. And there's only one better than him. And guess who it is? Bartolo Colon, who has 241. 2 Indians that were drafted by the Indians.
2 teammates back
exactly.
In that great playoff season of 01. CC was just a rookie back then.
Yeah. He came on like a storm.
Just missed outside.
Good try. Well, he's also Sabathia. I mean, watch him. He tried to go backdoor again with the breaking ball, but it's off the dish.
Edwin pops one to right. Aaron Judge. One away. Tonight's storylines are brought to you by Wayside Furniture, who will shine on the big stage. And Didi Gregorius of the Yankees. Somewhat overlooked, but as I told you when he came up first time, he's leading the team in homers, runs batted in, batting average. Judge, Giancarlo, Sanchez, they get most of the ink in the headlines, but that guy's turned himself into a terrific player.
Yes, he has.
Here's Brandon Geyer. Takes a strike. 8 of his 9 hits have come against left-handed pitching. It's been nice for Geyer, Raj Davis to get some opportunities because of the left-handed pitching the Indians have faced here. A bunch of them here in the last week.
Yeah, because it could run dry for a while.
Yeah. Then you feel like you haven't played in so long, and I can understand how difficult that role is. But these guys do everything they can to stay sharp so that when their name is called, they're ready.
Yeah, you have your routine. You try and stay as sharp as you can, but you need game action to really keep it sharp as attack.
Popped him up. Boy, this is the exact same CC Sabathia we saw last October.
Well, he's just keeping the hitters off balance. He's all the outs other than the strikeout are little weak fly ball outs.
Yeah, nobody squares them up. Here's our stat of the game brought to you by Buick. 100 wins for 2 different teams. Pretty rare feat. Nolan Ryan, Mike Mussina, El Presidente, Greg Maddux, Randy Johnson, a lot of Hall of Famers.
Yeah, some big names. And I'll tell you what, CC's borderline. He could be right there, too.
I don't know how that will come to pass, but some of the old standards are going to have to be looked at differently in the future. You know, it used to be 300 wins. You had to get there to get into the Hall of Fame.
Right. It's going to be about 200 now.
Alonso bloops one into left, base hit. And the Indians have a 2-out base runner.
Okay, take note. He went the other way with it. Didn't hit it all that hard, but he got a base hit. Just fight it off. And that was a fastball, but stayed on it. Gets the first hit for the Indians tonight.
Now Yan Gomes. Gomes is batting .250 on the year. He's hit .250 at home and .250 on the road. Takes a pitch inside for ball one. Up and away. 2 balls, no strikes. And now it's 3-0.
Yeah, patience right there. Attaboy.
CC Sabathia, 37 years old. He'll be 38 at the end of July. Vallejo, California native. 3-0 green light, and fouls it off. After the Indians traded him to Milwaukee in 08, and he gave them everything he had down the stretch trying to help that team get to the postseason. He signed a 7-year deal with the Yankees. This past year re-signed on a 1-year contract. Broken bat. Foul.
Well, he had the 3-0 count, got after it, 3-1 count, got after it, broke his bat, so he's going to have to go get a new one.
Two down, a runner at first. That runner, Yonder Alonso, will be off once Sabathia sends it toward home plate. And it's foul, third base side again. In Sabathia's rookie year, he went 17-5 with the Indians. Made 33 starts and pitched 6 innings to win his first postseason game against Seattle in the division series that year. High fly ball, deep left field, but it is going to hook foul into the seats. And we'll do it again.
Well, you go back to those years, and you know what? It was Josh Bard who was the bench coach here in New York for Aaron Boone. He and CC were teammates from 2002 to 2005. And Aaron Boone was also there.
Yeah.
From 2005 and 6. He was a teammate of CC. So the manager and a bench coach. CC's 37 and he's sitting here still pitching.
Again, Alonso is off with a 3-2. Gomes pops it up. And let's see if this
that's going to stay in.
Stays in play. It does, and Judge makes the catch. No runs, a hit, 1 left. Middle of the second, no score.
Your subscription includes MLB At Bat Premium, allowing you to watch live baseball on your favorite supported devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply.
79 degrees at game time here in New York. Just a few clouds overhead. Really a beautiful evening. On this, the 4th day of May. May the 4th be with you, as they say.
That's right. Tonight it is. Little Cinco de Mayo tomorrow.
That is correct, sir. Aaron Hicks fouls it off. Afternoon affair. In fact, a rare 1 o'clock Saturday game. We'll have it for you right here on Sports Time Ohio. Aaron Hicks, switch hitter. Skipper Aaron Boone has a pair of switch hitters, Hicks and the on-deck man Neil Walker. And they bat back-to-back here in the bottom part of the lineup. Outside, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Could not get him to chase. 2-2.
Well, this is a Yankees team too that also makes you work. They foul off pitches. They'll take their walks. They're first in the league in walks, first in the league in runs, and they foul off pitches. They make you get in the strike zone.
Swung out and missed. Tomlin with his 2nd strikeout tonight. 1 down. Josh Tomlin is the longest tenured Cleveland Indian. And he made his major league debut in a game against CC Sabathia in Cleveland back in 2010, late July. I asked him today, I said, do you remember a lot about that game? He said, oh yeah, I remember everything about it. And of course, it's your first major league game.
Right.
But to go up against the Yankees, who had won the World Series the year before, and to pitch against CC Sabathia, and he was incredible that night. 7 innings, shutout baseball. Base hit by Neil Walker, and the Yankees have a 1-out base runner here in the 2nd inning. Fresh-faced Josh Tomlin.
Look at that, the young man. A little change up right there. The command was spot on.
Alex Rodriguez unable to do anything against Tomlin, who got a standing ovation as he walked off. We were talking about, facing CC Sabathia here tonight as Miguel Andujar steps in, takes a strike. And while they were never teammates in Cleveland, he did have a few brief interactions with Sabathia when they were in Winter Haven, back in the old spring training complex of the Tribe. But he has a great deal of respect for the pitcher CC Sabathia is now, because hey, it's easy to sit back and just blow it when you can throw 97,
which he did when he was younger.
But to watch how he's changed as a pitcher and to watch him attack guys, he said you have to take your hat off to him.
Very few guys can do what CC has done.
Broken bat liner, and it's in. He's kind of punched it over the head of Lindor, and back-to-back singles here in the 2nd for New York.
Well, watch him pull his hands in. There's a pitch in off the plate, and 87, but he gets enough of it to get it over the head of Lindor. And this kid is really, it brings some energy to this team. The younger players, the Andujars, the Torres, who's coming up now, and Gardner, who's always been that way. When you can get on base and make something happen, I'll tell you, it gives these guys energy.
Gleyber Torres takes down low, ball 1. out of play right side. 1 ball, 1 strike. 1 down here in inning number 2. For all the talk about the Yankees' home run power, and they certainly have plenty of it, they're also second in the American League in doubles.
Yeah.
Fouled right back. Torres down in the count, 1-2. The 1-2 is a pop to center field. Bradley Zimmer makes the catch, and there are 2 down. That's going to take us to the top of the order.
Now let's look at the sequence here from Tomlin. That's a little cutter down on the way he missed with. He goes back with another one. He fouled it off. Now he runs the fastball inside to take him off that pitch away. There's the breaking ball off the end of the bat, got him to pop it up. So cutter, fastball in, curveball. And he gets his second out.
2-on-2 out. Brett Gardner will be the batter. The real irony, though, when you talk about the Tomlin-Sabathia connection, is that it's not so much that they faced in Josh's first major league start, and here they are again all these years later. Old graybeards, as I called him before the game. He said, no, just call us long in the tooth. Is that one of the guys that the Indians traded CC for has become one of Tomlin's closest friends, and Michael Brantley.
Right. You forget that.
Yeah.
Easy to forget. Everybody kept saying, much like they did with Cliff Lee, oh, you give CC away, you got nothing in return. Well, they got Michael Brantley, and you give Cliff Lee away, and they have Carlos Carrasco also.
Two on, 2 out. 0-2 pitch. And he hit him. Not what he wanted to do at all. Now he's got to face Aaron Judge with the bases drunk.
Well, you have to pitch inside. He's on the plate, you can see. He didn't want to go in that far. Gardner got it on his arm, but he hit him. So he loads the bases up, and now you're in your danger zone. You got to come back and make some quality pitches here.
But this is what gets your juices flowing if you're a competitor. You have to love these matchups, these moments.
Especially when he doubled in his first at bat.
Slowed it down with that curveball, and Judge way out in front of it.
As these pitchers will do. You know, you get into this tight situation. A lot of young pitchers will go power, slow it down, let the hitter, his aggression, take over. And it was right there. He was trying to knock in 4 with one swing.
Threw it again, but Judge able to lay off. 1-1. Oh, he threw the 4-seam fastball, and Judge didn't bite, and it was away just off the outside edge. He skies one to center. He pops the fastball up, and the Yankees leave them loaded. Tomlin navigates through the second. No score. Davis will lead off for the Indians. Last 4 games, Rajay's gone 5 for 12 at the plate. Almost hit him. Yesterday was one of those really fun days in the Indians clubhouse. A long day because you play doubleheader, extra innings, on and on. But they win the second game, and afterwards they're able to celebrate. Brad Mills called the team together. They had a tray of champagne glasses filled to the rim, and Millsy announced to everybody, congratulations to Adam Plutko, first major league win. What a thrill for him. Congratulations to Rajay Davis, 400 career stolen bases. That's a heck of an accomplishment.
Yeah.
And of course to Tito for 1,500 career wins as a manager. Slow chopper back to CC, and he'll throw out Raj, one down.
Now, I don't know if you're going to continue with the story but about the best part, Matt. If you are, go for it. But the best part is, as that started, Tito started looking around the room and he said, wait a minute. I'm the manager. I should be telling everybody that congratulations, not realizing that they were setting him up to give him congratulations and give him a champagne toast. He had no idea. And he sat there and he was like, why is Millsy doing this? I should be doing it.
And if you watched his reaction, Andre, you could tell it was genuine. He was. Right. He's like, oh yeah, I got 1,500 career win. And when he told me before the game today, he said, I absolutely didn't spend one single moment reflecting on it or thinking about it. I believe him. I really do.
I totally believe him. And even talking to him today after you talked to him, he said to me, he said, what it really means is I've been around a lot of good people. Yeah. I'm a baseball lifer, and I've been truly lucky in everybody that I've been around. He goes, I'll never make it about me. And I talked to a couple other people that have been around him for a while. And Mike Barnett told me, he said, Tito is the same exact guy as he was when he was managing in Birmingham, Alabama.
Yeah.
Zimmer,
that, I believe.
Caught looking. Sabathia's second strikeout, and there are 2 down here in the 3rd inning. The other thing, too, is that I asked him, about the toast that Mills gave to everybody in the clubhouse. And he said, I said, do you think he's got a career as a Toastmaster? He said, honestly, he said, I hope whatever he does in the future, it's with me. Because he said, without him, I don't know if I'm as good as I am. I mean, and he cracks on Millsy and he makes fun of Millsy. I mean, the two of them have a really unique relationship.
That's his way of showing affection, is getting all over you and showing you attention like that.
But he respects and values his opinion, his steadiness. I mean, Millsy's the guy that's always he's truly like a rock, man.
Yeah.
Every day he's the same guy.
Yes, he is.
He's not the guy you're going to go to, hey, Millsy, tell a joke here. That's not your guy. But you want somebody you can count on, dependable. It's going to be there at 3 in the morning when you got a flat tire on the side of the road. That's your guy.
Everything's going to be done, and you don't have to double check.
Fouled right back.
Because he will triple check it.
Well, CC Sabathia up to his old tricks. Add, subtract, in, out, up, down, you name it. But nobody's been able to really square him up to this point. 2 out in the 3rd. Lindor in the hole, 1 and 2. Threw the bat at it and punched it foul. Nice grab by the ball boy down the line. Our Lowe's whole team together. Highest batting average against the Yankees with at least 90 plate appearances. Lindor certainly has had, and how about Jose Ramirez right there as well?
The 2 guys they controlled in the playoffs last year. I wanted to talk about that last pitch that Lindor fouled off. Sometimes you have to go outside the strike zone to maybe stay alive if you're fooled on a pitch, and good hitters do that.
I remember, not so much now, but a few years ago, remember how many times Lindor would he'd take a pitch that was off the plate, punch it into left field for a base
and get hit.
hit,
Sometimes
go the other way.
bad ball hitters. Bad ball hitters. Sometimes people try to rein you in and say, hey, well, you can walk maybe a little bit more, and it takes their aggressiveness away. And you know, once they realize they can hit balls that are out of the strike zone for base hits, he's gone back to it sometimes.
What I was going to say is I don't see it as much though now. It's almost like his eyes gotten better and he's narrowed his field of focus to say, I know I can go out and hit that if I have to, but I don't have to anymore.
Yeah, he knows the pitcher's better and the strike zone's much better, and he waits for certain counts. It's all things that you have to learn, and it takes at bats at this level to realize it.
Another 1-2 offering, and he struck him out again. I think it was the same pitch he struck him out with the first time up. Just a high fastball. Is the opposite of that guy. That's Frankie Lindor, but his counterpart is Didi Gregorius, who's at the plate right now. And Gregorius was born in the Netherlands, spent most of his life in Curacao. He speaks English, Spanish, Dutch, and Papiamento.
Is that right about where he comes from, that island?
I sure hope so.
I know it. I've never heard of it.
His full name is Merrickson Julius Gregorius, but his dad and his brother are also referred to as Didi, so it's just one of those family nicknames that has stuck. Gomes to the screen. Oh, what a play by Jan!
There you go.
Yes, indeed. That's a big out as Gregorius goes back to the dugout.
That's one you can catch on. Nobody isn't going to get in your way there except the screen. And he got back there and he knew he was going to have to make a little leap. There's a little ledge that comes out and you see the pad. It's about 2 feet, but he jumps up on it and catches it. And you want a first out like that, especially off the bat of Gregorius. Nice play, Jan.
Now Giancarlo Stanton. And he took a vicious hack at a low fastball. And that time Tomlin went from the bottom of the zone toward the top of the zone, fouls it back, 0-2. Swung on and missed. Boy, what pitching by Josh Tomlin. Just carved him up. Low heat, high heat, down and away, strikes him out. 2 down, his 3rd strikeout of the evening. Here's Al Pulaski back in Cleveland with a game break. Thanks, Al. I wonder if maybe the Nationals have figured something out. That's they've won
what, 6 now?
5 in a row. This would be 6 if they hang on here. They're back to 500.
Well, that was his Martinez's way of getting Harper some pitches to hit.
Get him up in the order.
Yeah, he had like 39 walks in like 28 games. They weren't throwing him strikes, and he was only getting maybe a pitch to swing out a game or so. He says, let's move him up, and I'll tell you what, it's paid off. As we talked about, a disciple of Joe Madden, and he's done it before, and he watched him do it before, and it's working for him right now.
Josh Tomlin just smothering Sanchez with a couple of pitches inside to get ahead. 1-2 the count.
Watch him go inside, and Gomes is sitting right there. Now, did he call a? That could have been a. Did you see how Gomes' glove came back over the middle of the plate?
Yeah. Low and away, 2-2. Gary Sanchez, 25 years old. He's got tremendous skills at the plate. Defensively, at times, he doesn't look like a real smooth or fluid catcher, but obviously he gets the job done enough where it doesn't hamper the Yankees. 3-2 pitch, and he just missed. He never took the bat off his shoulder in that at bat. 2-out walk's going to bring up Aaron Hicks.
Well, it's not too late to get a prorated 2018 Tribe season ticket package. Best seats at the best prices and the best perks. Save big over single game prices. Get access to summer season ticket autograph party and plenty more.
Josh Tomlin facing Aaron Hicks, who struck out his first time up. And that's just off the plate. Ball 1. Slowly chopped to Alonso. And the flip to Tomlin retires the side. 3 complete, no score in the Bronx. Sabathia has allowed just 1 hit and has struck out 3 through the first 3 innings. Let's go down to Andre Knott.
Matt, earlier in the game, we showed a graphic about CC having 100 wins with the Indians and as a Yankee. Earlier in this offseason, I listened to a podcast that CC does with Ryan Russillo, who does some games for the Yes Network, and they asked him a question of his 9 favorite teammates he's ever played with. Now, the podcast is owned by Derek Jeter. I think some will be surprised that he said his favorite shortstop he ever played with was Omar Vizquel. His favorite center fielder was Grady Sizemore. I'll give you the rest after this
Go
pitch.
ahead.
His favorite DH was Prunk. Now, in all of these, he was asked why. And remember, this is a New York-based podcast for the New York Yankees and on the Yes Network. And he talked about those guys and what they meant to his career and what Cleveland meant to his career. And how Dave Burba and those 3 guys he'll never forget because he wouldn't be where he was at today. Oh, Victor Martinez was the other guy, the catcher for him as well. He said those guys have made CC Sabathia's career what it is, and he'll never forget or be able to repay them for what they taught him.
The 1-1.
Remembering where he grew up. It's beautiful.
It's one of those things, too, Andre, I think, for people outside of Cleveland, that may come as a surprise to hear him say, well, this is my favorite guy at this position, or whatever. Those of us who were there and watched how that team interacted and how close-knit they were, not surprising at all. I mean, that was a very close-knit team, and those guys they went through the ups and downs. They got their base beat in, and then they emerged and almost went to the World Series together in 07. 2-2.
I think the part of the story that blew everyone away is when he said shortstop. Everybody just figured he'd say Derek Jeter.
Yeah.
And he said, it's nothing against Derek. He goes, I respect him and I like him. He goes, but if you play with Omar Vizquel when I play with Omar Vizquel, you wouldn't question me at all.
Well, yeah, a lot of times when you're in this market, it's your player or bust. They're very passionate fans here in this area, especially Yankee fans.
The wide and the 3-2 to Jason Kipnis. Out of play. Kipnis fly to right his first time up. Kipnis, Jose Ramirez, then Edwin Encarnacion here in the 4th inning. Yankees do have a shift. 3 on the right side for Kip. Payoff pitch. Popped him up. Boy, I can't tell you how many guys it seems like have just popped it straight up. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
Great clip of the game from yesterday. Jose Ramirez. Man, what an inning. A 9-run inning after they had a 7-run inning in the first game of the doubleheader.
Yeah, a couple of knocks in the inning with 3 RBIs. Homer, a double.
Yeah, Jose started the scoring with that 2-run homer, and he almost ended it. His RBI double made it an 8-run inning, and then Brantley got the sac fly to drive home the 9th run in that inning. Drilled to left. That's going to be a base hit and maybe extras. Gardner go over to dig it out. And Ramirez will just take his time and stroll into second base with a 1-out double. 2nd hit of the night for the Indians. And they get a runner in a scoring position now for the first time.
I like the swing by Ramirez there. No body, was all arms. And let's see if CC hits the plate there. There's one he left middle of the plate. Those are the pitches you have to take advantage of. But he stayed back nicely. You see the arms just came through the hitting area. There was no body. There was no movement, no muscling up on the baseball. And here comes Ramirez with another double. Guess what? He has 8. Remember we said he didn't have one? And then all of a sudden they're going to start coming in bunches.
Boom, boom,
well,
boom.
here they are. They're coming in bunches.
Edwin Encarnacion flied to right. His first time up. And Sabathia gets ahead with strike 1. Edwin, 8 hits in his last 16 at bats, with 3 of those hits being home runs. Ramirez breaks for third. The throw by Sanchez, and I think they got him. They did.
That was a nice throw by Sanchez.
It really was.
A nice throw. And, I thought Ramirez had a good jump, but in that situation, you want to make it. You're in scoring position for your 4th hitter. You see that there's the jump. Watch, Sanchez comes up and comes behind. And
I don't know if he tagged him.
Well, maybe he didn't.
Did he whiff? Oh, I think he's safe, Arch.
They may check it then. The ball beat him, and I'll tell you, he might have, Matt. Look at this. That's hard to call right there.
They're going to challenge it.
Okay, they'll challenge it. We'll see if they can get it turned over. That's a tough call, though. He had a good jump, but Sanchez made a good throw.
That last angle looked completely different than the other one. That last angle made it appear that, oh, maybe he is out. But the first one looked like his hand gets in there first.
Now watch, here's the angle. Let's see if the hand gets in there first before the tag comes on. Now you see right there, they're going to say that's the tag, but I'll tell you what, I don't know if there's enough evidence to overturn that, and he was called out. This one, it doesn't look like he touches him like he did in the other one. It's going to be a tough one to get overturned. But boy, it was really, really close.
I tell you, the way it's gone, though, it's probably worth a roll of the dice to challenge it. I don't know. You could argue this one either way, I suppose.
Well, nothing game if you can have a guy on third base. But there are 2 outs. No, excuse me, 1 out.
If he's out, then there are 2.
Yes, right.
I felt really good about it until I saw that third replay angle. Then I thought, oh, maybe not.
Here's my take on the situation and him running. You got to be able to steal it. You got Encarnacion, who's 8 for his last 16. He's your number 4 hitter. You cannot afford to get thrown out here because you're in scoring position, even if you're on first. But the call stands.
So the challenge goes for naught, and there are 2 down. Edwin smokes it deep left, but foul. Now he's behind in the count 1-2.
Looked like he tried to get a little something extra on that pitch to throw a high fastball to him, and it went way out of the zone. But I think they wanted it in.
Now the 2-2. Out of play. Encarnacion. Strike 3 called, inning over. 4th strikeout for Sabathia. And we are scoreless now, middle of the 4th.
you served. We stand ready to serve all military families.
Back here at Yankee Stadium, no score. Bottom of the fourth inning, bottom third of the Yankees order due up. Neil Walker, Miguel Andujar, Gleyber Torres. Walker and Andujar had hits off Tomlin their first time up in the second inning. Josh has struck out 3. He's allowed 3 hits. He's walked a batter, hit a batter. And there's another base hit for Walker. Cut off by Geyer. And it'll be a leadoff single for Walker. Check out the big story in Major League Baseball. Albert Pujols, career hit number 2,999.
Yeah, they were hoping he had a couple of at-bats after that one that he could get it at home. I'm sure the home folks wanted to see him do it, but he's going to have to go after it again tonight in Seattle.
Maybe 2. Let's see. Lindor boots it. And everybody's safe. Little in between hop. And he couldn't hold on to it. And now the Yankees have their first 2 aboard in the fourth. Second error of the night for the Indians.
Yeah, this it might have been a double play ball. It's hard to tell because it wasn't hit all that hard. It had some spin to it. But on that hop, it catches him in the heel. And you rarely see that from Francisco Lindor. But now it gives the Yankees a good start to this fourth inning. Their first 2 on with nobody out.
Gleyber Torres flying to center in the second inning. And the Yankees lead it 3-0. First home run of the year for Gleyber Torres. First career home run for Gleyber Torres.
Well, he did not waste any time getting after that hanging curveball. And he stayed back and smoked it. There it is. Stayed on the middle part of the plate. And that one not coming back. The 11th home run given up by Tomlin. This time it's a 3-pointer, and that one hurts following the error.
To first base, the flip to Tomlin. 1 down. Arch, it's like the Yankees keep finding people that you've never heard of before, and they all play well.
Yes, I know it. Well, you know, the pressure's not on. They're fitting in nicely. It's a blend of youth and veterans, and right now they're firing on all cylinders. You know, the sad thing is, though, that one ground ball right before that had a chance to be a double play. You get 2 out, nobody on, and then the very next pitch, the next thing you know, it's 3 runs. So, mistake made.
Fastball strike to Judge.
This has been their MO and their streak where they're winning 12 out of the last 13. You get the lead, you turn it over to your pitching staff and pitch well.
Oh, and their bullpen's been dynamite.
Yeah, I know it. Yeah, the relievers in that streak have been 5-0 with a .91 earned run average.
Judge drills one deep left, and that's gone.
goes to show you the strength of that young man right there. Out in front. But about 280 pounds, and he just flicks a line drive out of here. Watch, that's off the ground. And, you know, most hitters, there's no way they would be able to reach it. But as strong as that guy is, that's a line drive out of the ballpark. So the second home run in the inning, and Judge his 8th and his 7th at home.
For 4-0 New York. Didi Gregorius, the batter. Foul first base side. Well, Gleyber Torres is an interesting guy because, as I said, you know, you're like, where do the Yankees keep finding these guys? And Torres was somebody that they got when they originally traded Aroldis Chapman to the Cubs back at the 2016 deadline.
Right, remember? Yes. How about that trade?
Him and Adam Warren, who's become a pretty good guy in the back end of the bullpen, and all of a sudden here's Gleyber Torres with his first major league home run, and it's a big 3-run smash. Center field, Zimmer, 2 down.
Well, you go back, Josh Tomlin's last start, it was a 5-run second inning. And here today, after the error, you know, the base hit, the error, it's a 4-run 4th inning. And those crooked numbers are tough to come back from when you let them up early in a ball game.
Giancarlo Stanton 0 for 2 on the night. He reached on an error, or I should say he struck out in the 3rd inning and drew a walk after he should have been out on a foul out in the 1st inning, but that did no damage. The error here in this inning, costly. How costly? Hard to tell. They still hit the 2 home runs. But perhaps it would have been maybe only a single run given up.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell.
You don't know. Stanton strikes out, but the Yankees strike big. A 3-run homer, the first of the career for Gleyber Torres after the error by Lindor, and then Judge drives one out as well. The 18 Kia Sorento, the perfect getaway vehicle. Visit KiaDealers.com to learn more. And by Levin Furniture, for the best deals on furniture and mattresses,
Shop Levin's.
Yankees now lead it 4-0. 5th inning. And the Indians still have just 2 hits in the game. So they need to get going and give Josh Tomlin a little offensive support.
Yeah, just 2 hits to this point, and he's really taken the sting out of the bats.
That was just fouled on the third base line. It was right over the bag, but that would have been a nice way to get the inning started. Over the bag and a double would have been nice. The center field, Hicks. 1 down.
Well, just watch how he really takes the sting out of the bats of the hitters. I mean, he rides the fastball up to get some strikeouts, slow breaking balls. They're just not centering on the baseball. They're fooled a little bit. They're caught in between, and that's the key to pitching, man. Soft, hard, up and down, and move it in and out. And he has done that beautifully so far to this point. And that's the way he's pitched since he's been off the DL. Had a little hip problem. He was on the disabled list from April 7th to the 19th, a hip strain, the right one. But since his return, lights out.
1-1 to count on Yonder Alonso, who had a base hit in the 2nd inning. Muscled a ball into left field for a single. When CC Sabathia won the Cy Young Award with the Indians back in 07, he had a magnificent season. He was 19-7, 3.21 ERA. He logged over 240 innings. He had 209 strikeouts. But just a few years later, in his 2nd year in pinstripes, he went 21-7 with a 3.18 ERA. And that year he finished 3rd in the American League Cy Young Award voting. And it was one of those years that it kind of caught everybody, not necessarily by surprise, but it set everybody back on their ear, because up until that point, people looked at your 1-loss record, your ERA, your strikeouts, sort of the normal, I guess, or the you know, the old guard stats. But all of a sudden, here comes Felix Hernandez with a 13-12 record, and he wins the Cy Young Award that year.
I remember that.
You could argue Sabathia was better in 10 than he was in 07 when he won it.
Yeah.
But the one thing you look at is, at the end of the year, you add up all the numbers. Hernandez had a dozen more innings pitched, 35 more strikeouts.
And CC had, what, 8 more wins?
Yeah.
Well, they don't value the win anymore, but if you're a starting, because nowadays, not necessarily back then, has the bullpen been relied on like it is now, you know, back in 2007.
Felix Hernandez that year did have 6 complete games. CC had 2. Nobody else had very many. Actually, you know who had? Flip Lee that year had 7 complete games. And that's funny for those of us who remember them as teammates, because you couldn't have had 2 more different personalities. The laid-back Cliff Lee, hey man, and then, you know, CC. But they were both dynamite as starting pitchers, left-handed. I mean, remember 08, how good Cliff Lee was every 5 days.
Goodness.
You couldn't wait to watch him go out there and pitch again.
It was very similar to what Kluber does, except Kluber
does it year after year after year.
Yeah, he does it consistently, but very similar, because we hadn't seen a pitcher like that. Just boom, continue to throw strikes and pound the strike zone like that.
2-2 to Gomes. Missed outside, full count. First time up, Jan had a 3-0 count. fouled a couple of pitches off, broke a bat, and eventually fouled out down the right field line. Sabathia has struck out 6 in 5 shutout innings of work.
Royals will be in Cleveland. It'll be the very first dollar dog night this year. The Kansas City. You can grab a $15 district ticket as presented by Sports Time, or a $10 KeyBank Kids ticket, but you can only get them online. Go to Indians.com.
Josh Tomlin facing Gary Sanchez here in the bottom of the 5th. Popped him up, foul, back out of play. Sanchez struck out of the 1st. He walked in the 3rd. The 0-1. I think the point I was trying to make earlier about Sanchez, offensively, everything's there. Power. I mean, he's an all-star. Defensively, good arm. We've seen him throw, but some of the mechanics of just the pitch to pitch stuff. Every once in a while, he either just lose track of a ball, or he kind of boxes one up, or doesn't get the body out in front. And that's the only thing that is kind of holding him back from being. Oh man, that makes up for it though. Home run number 9. 5-0 New York, their 3rd home run of the night.
Well, there's the power you talk about. I mean, that ball, it just flies off his bat. They wanted it up, and they got it up. But you know what? Not enough on that pitch to get it by him up there. Watch him. He climbs up there and gets on the top of it. So Sanchez hits his 9th. Tomlin gives up his 3rd. And for Josh this year, 13 given up. You remember in his first start in LA, he gave up 4 homers. Against the Cubbies, he gave up 4. His last start in Seattle, 2. And here we are in New York, he's given up 3.
Alexi Ogando, who is just called up today, is getting loose in the bullpen.
So in 22 and 2/3 innings, he's given up 13 home runs, and that's a high rate.
Three-one pitch. Hicks, towering pop to right. And Geyer pulls it down, one away. Mid-game summary brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. In the fourth, after an error, 2 on, nobody out. Gleyber Torres, his first major league homer, and it was 3-0. 2 batters later, it's 4-0. Aaron Judge with his 8th of the year. And now starting this bottom of the 5th, Gary Sanchez with his 9th home run of the season. Neil Walker is 2 for 2. Tried to hold up. He went around. It's 0-2. With the shift on, Kipnis snares it. He'll have to throw to first. I think I never saw a signal by any umpire. 2 down. Hey, when you ride with the Indians in Velasano, your registration is free. You get an Indian cycling jersey. 100% of the dollars raised goes to Cancer Research at Cleveland Clinic. Visit velasano.org/Indians for details on joining their team. That was really strange. The umpires never made a signal. So Jason Kipnis ended up throwing to first, and then they come back and say, oh no, he actually caught it, so well, give him the put out.
I watched him come in on the baseball, and that's what he wanted to do, is catch it. But once you don't see a sign, when in doubt, you got to throw it.
This could be trouble. Down the line, foul.
We had that the other day in Cleveland, where an umpire didn't give a sign. And, you know, whether fair or foul, they didn't know what to do. Don't know if we could see the umpires, but he came in and he picked it up. He caught it. He caught it in the air. He's showing him he got the ball, but he didn't see anything. You see, you look for some confirmation that you caught the ball before it hit the ground.
And Duhar fouls it back. I almost wonder if I'm an umpire. It's just my own speculation. But if I'm out there and I don't know for sure, I might just let the play go. And that way, well, if I'm wrong, you'll replay it. Well, but if I make the wrong call, then it kind of gets goofy, right?
If it's in front of him, you can't replay it, can you, the umpires?
That's true.
So I'm saying if it's wrong, there's a catch.
I guess that one would have been in front of him, right? That would have been right sort of on the line. Well, the Yankees continue to bash. 3 homers on tonight. They're up 5-0.
Tickets directly on your mobile device. You can use the app to purchase and forward tickets and have your tickets scanned for entrance to the ballpark. There's no need to print tickets.
I was talking to Rajay Davis before the game today about the 400 stolen base mark that he achieved, and I told him, you know, we were joking on the air last night about the fact that Ricky Henderson was thrown out almost 400 times in his career. And I said to Raj, do you think anybody will ever touch Ricky's record? He said no. He said it would have to be, he said, in his word, it would have to be a very unique individual. And I think what he meant was, there's a number of things. He said, one, you got to start early. You got to be one of those guys that gets, like Frankie Lindor,
20 years old.
You'd have to be one of those guys that gets called up right away. He said you'd have to be able to, you're an everyday player. And then on top of that, produce and stay healthy. It would have to be a perfect combination for anybody to even approach that. And on top of all that, he said, the way the game's changed, the stolen base just isn't emphasized as much. So you'd have to be with the right organization that's going to say, go ahead, run.
Yeah, I don't see that happening. I think that's a record that'll never, not in my lifetime. If you see it and I'm gone, please let me know. Because I don't think it's going to happen.
Keep my seat warm. I'll tell you when I get there. Well, here's the other thing, because you know, Andre has told us that, you know, Raj spent time with Ricky, and I asked him, I said, what did you glean from that more than anything that allowed Ricky to do that? He said, let me tell you something. He goes, the dude was a workout machine. He said he worked, nobody saw him. He wasn't like out in front of everybody, but he said he worked so hard physically to keep his body in shape. And he said he worked his legs every day.
Boy, you had to. Well, he was like just a human muscle.
Raj thrown out by a half step at first, one down. Injury report brought to you by the attorneys at Elk & Elk. We have some roster moves and a whole bunch of them. Nick Goody, disabled list. Danny Salazar has moved to the 60-day DL. The big decision, Eric Gonzalez kept, Gio Urshela designated. Jeff Beliveau also designated, and Alexi Ogando had his contract selected and called up from AAA. What does all that mean? Andre Knott.
Nick Goody, maybe not as bad as we thought. There's nothing structurally wrong with his elbow, which is a sigh of relief for the Indians. He's going to go 7 days without throwing. He's got swelling right now in that arm, and they think he may have hyperextended the elbow a little bit, so it was almost bone on bone for a minute. So that's the latest on Nick Goody. Danny Salazar is going to get another MRI. They're going to look inside of his arm and go to another doctor to see if there's anything wrong. He said he's been feeling something in that area. Now, the Gio situation, we've talked about it at length over the last 2-3 days. It was a decision the Indians didn't want to make, but they knew they had to make, and they feel like they have the right guy. But Tito said it tonight. They still don't want to lose him, and they hope they can get him back. But I think the guy that was toughest on was Eric Gonzalez.
Yeah.
Eric told me today, he said they've been together for over 10 years. They were drafted together by the Indians. They're friends. They played together on different levels. He says this wasn't easy on him or on Gio at all. They talked about it only one time in spring training, and now Eric feels like, you know, that's a friend. I'm not happy about this.
Yeah, it's a business
Sports
decision.
Sports is a cruel game.
One more thing. I'm sorry. Miller. He long tossed today. He's going to throw a bullpen tomorrow. If all goes well, could come off on Sunday off the DL. The doctors want to see how he is, though, off the mound before they let him come back on the regular roster.
Swing and a miss. Down goes Zimmer. 7th strikeout for Sabathia. And there are 2 down in the inning. Yeah, Tito intimated to me that they might want to see him throw 2 bullpens. So what do you think, Andre? If that would happen, you're probably looking at the earliest then Tuesday in Milwaukee.
Right. And with the off day on Monday, we asked, you know, with that off day, would you use that? And he said, no, I need him. But the doctors are kind of saying, let's maybe get him on the mound twice to make sure everything is okay with that hamstring. So, yeah, Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe in Milwaukee, if everything goes well.
It makes sense to me. Better err on the side of caution. You need him for the long haul.
And the good thing is, and Tito said they're not going to send him out or anything because he's thrown this entire time. He's been on the DL. It's not like his arm hasn't been able. He hasn't been able to use his arm.
The 1-0 to Francisco Lindor, and he rifles one down into the left field corner. Lindor headed for second base, and he'll go in with a 2-out double. Second double of the night for the Indians. And a runner in scoring position for Jason Kipnis.
Yeah, you would like to get something on the board here really soon. Now with 2 outs, he gets a ball down, and it was down enough. He was able to get him on high fastballs the first 2 at bats. This time he left something down the zone, and Lindor took advantage of it. So Frankie gets his 9th double. He and Jason Kipnis have 9. Ramirez has 8.
Sabathia has him down 0-2.
It's almost like he's got the ball on the string, and he can throw it here, and then boom, if he wants to throw a spinner, he takes a little velocity off of it, but he's locating it wherever he wants to.
Breaking the action, we got a ball loose in the outfield. It has to be thoroughly frustrating for an offense to face a guy like this, where you're seeing it, you're swinging it, and you're not getting
just when
any
you think
results.
You're getting it, he jams you.
Yeah.
Just when you think you're on it, it's off the end of the bat. You know, they haven't been able to square up now.
Popped up. Gregorius makes the catch. No runs, a hit, another stranded. Middle of the 6th. New York 5, Cleveland nothing.
Awards. And today's Strawberry Awards code is Frankie. Yes, sir. Frankie Lindor. Visit Indians.com for complete details.
Gleyber Torres will lead off here in the bottom of the 6th. Pops one sky high, shallow right. Out goes Kipnis, the second baseman, and makes the catch. 1 down. Gleyber Torres with the home run in that 4th inning. 3-run shot.
Only 20 feet. I'll tell you what, he generated a little bit of power on that one.
Brian Hoke, who covers the Yankees for MLB.com, tweeted out, Arch, that at 21 years, 142 days, Gleyber Torres is the youngest Yankee to hit a home run since John Ellis.
Johnny Ellis, no kidding.
1969. John Ellis was 20 years, 269 days old. So he wasn't even quite 21. How about that?
He ended up getting traded over to the Indians back in '73. I'm trying to think in what trade exactly.
Give me a second, I'm going to look it up.
I think it's the Nettles trade or the Chambliss trade, one of those two. But Johnny, a right-handed hitter, who was a DH catcher.
He played till 1981, by the way, Johnny Ellis.
I didn't realize that he was that young when he got to the big leagues. I think he was a Connecticut kid.
Just punched it to left, Brett Gardner.
That's a good at bat.
By the way, that Twitter assist comes from our unparalleled sideline man, Andre Knott.
Well, there's a really good. I mean, that's, you talk about taking what the pitcher gives you right there. That's an excellent job. You just stay on the baseball and hit a line drive the other way for a base hit. Didn't one out.
After the 1972 season was over, so after the Indians had made you their first round pick,
right,
they started building a championship team. They traded Johnny Ellis to the Indians for Jerry Moses and Greg Nettles.
Yeah, okay, the Greg Nettles. Oh boy, don't tell Cleveland that.
He went, or he came to Cleveland with Jerry Kenny, Charlie Spikes, and Rusty Torres, all in that same trade.
Okay.
75, the Indians traded him to Texas for Ron Pruitt and Stan Thomas. And it looks like he went to spring training with the Rangers in '82. And before the start of the season, they released him, and that was that. But that's a heck of a career. When you think about catching, little DH, little first base toward the end.
He was a tough customer, I'll tell you that.
Fouled out a play to the right. Alexi Agondo getting loose in the bullpen once again. A lot of people are going to say, oh, enough with the good old days and all that. But in your day, it wasn't unusual to see 20, 21-year-old guys get to the big leagues.
Not at all. I mean, sometimes it was a crapshoot. You know, if you weren't in the right organization, you know, if they had veterans there, because a lot of times players never moved on a lot, you know, and they'd take their chances if you weren't in a good organization and they had the chance to, you know, try and create something. That's one of the reasons why I think I made it so early. They wanted to move on and then start getting a little bit younger. Matter of fact, Johnny Ellis was the Indians' first DH in '73.
A smash to second. Kipnis has it flipped to Frankie, back to first. An inning-ending double play. We'll go to the 7th inning here in the Bronx. Indians down 5.
Brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. Visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. And by the injury lawyers at Elk & Elk. Proud partners of the Cleveland Indians. Call 1-800-ELK, Ohio.
Hard to believe the Yankees have any numbers left to hand out with all the ones they've retired here in New York. They're up 5-0. CC Sabathia is out. Aaron Boone has made the Cleveland Clinic call to the bullpen for big power right-hander Dellin Betances. They have to have, on average, the tallest team in baseball.
No, those guys, yes.
They got a few guys that skew the scale with Giancarlo Stanton, Aaron Judge, Dellin Betances.
CC's no mid.
Yeah.
You know, I'll tell you what, the Statue of Liberty, those guys are about as tall as the Statue of Liberty.
A little squibber. This might work out. Let's see. And
Yes.
Newhart can't come up with it, and Ramirez has himself a swinging bunt single. Take another look at this as Ramirez takes a full cut.
Squibber.
And whoa.
Right off the end of the bat, and there's no way. Even if he fields it cleanly, I don't think there's any way he'd be able to throw him out.
Let's see if the Indians can muster something here offensively to get on the board, get some kind of momentum. We've said it before, this bullpen for New York is lethal.
Well, this guy can get a little erratic at times too, so you have to make sure he can get in the zone. But if his slider is working and he can control it, boy, he can be nasty on hitters. He's pitched 12 innings. He has 23 strikeouts.
He is powered it right by him at 97 miles an hour.
Now, with CC making this start, and he was 2-0 since coming off the DL, he really kept him off balance tonight. He had 7 strikeouts, but allowed only 3 hits. And look at him, he takes the sting out of the bat. They're either out front or they're a little bit tardy. But the 3 hits they did get, a couple of doubles.
Popped up on the left
flare
side.
single. So it was a nice job by CC tonight.
Oh my, I don't know how Geyer got out of the way of that at 97 miles an hour.
Well, there's not much time to get out of the way, but he made the right turn. He turned into it. Get out of the way. It's almost like the ball was by him by the time he moved.
It's almost like a couple of years ago when the Indians got to the World Series with a bullpen that was just lights out. A lot of teams were watching, in particular the Yankees, and they started saying, let's build a bullpen that looks a lot like that one. And you get Aroldis Chapman back after they traded him. We got him in free agency. You got Betances already in the fold, so that was an easy. But you know, David Robertson.
Yeah, made some trades last year.
Chasen Shreve gives him another lefty that's pretty good too. So they had the ability to shorten the game like the Indians were doing a couple of years ago.
And you know what? And even before the Indians, Kansas City did that when they made
no
their
doubt.
run in the World Series. It was
Absolutely.
Kansas City as well.
Yep.
So they go when you play a 6-inning game, and the Yankees have done that for a while. When you go back into the 90s, that's how they
Sure.
made it. You know, and when Rivera was a setup man, not even a closer. So anybody that can shorten that game to 6 innings, it makes starting a little bit easier.
Geyer down on strikes. Back-to-back Ks for Dellin Betances.
This is the slider here, and this is why you see if he's on his game and he gets ahead of you, he can bury it. Hitters really do not have a chance when this guy's locked in and he's on target.
Yonder Alonso 1 for 2 on the night. Struck out his last time up. You could almost say too, Archie, that really the genesis of the power bullpen started with the Nasty Boys in 1990. It just took a while for people to catch on to say,
yeah, they had 3 of them.
That makes sense right there, what they've got. Lefty, couple of right-handers, but they all 3 of those guys could close, and eventually did. Foul third base side. Yonder Alonso had the first hit for the Indians with 2 outs in the 2nd inning. But since then, just 3 more hits for the Tribe on the night. And they've all been truly scattered. 1 in the 2nd, 1 hit in the 4th, 1 2-out double in the 6th, and a leadoff squib single by Ramirez here in the 7th. Funny how yesterday the hits came early, often, and in between. And now Alonso shoots one up the gut. Great play by Gregorius to cut it off. And in the inning, stretch time in New York. 5-0 Yankees. Indians live first pitch just after 1 on Sports Time Ohio. Trevor Bauer will go for the Indians. Sonny Gray, the former A, going for the Bronx Bombers. Said it earlier, so weird. In the old days, 1 o'clock was Saturday baseball, but
Very few 1 o'clock games on the schedule this year on Saturday. It's like a 4 o'clock or maybe later.
Yeah, they play 1 o'clock games here in New York.
Love
on
it.
Saturdays.
Didi Gregorius 0 for 3 on the night. Off the end of the bat, popped him up. And Lindor has it, 1 down. Got a note here from a friend who says that Abimento is a version of Dutch that is spoken in Aruba. And Aruba is a Dutch colony.
Okay.
So
thank you for that info.
Just one of the many languages spoken by Didi Gregorius. And why they refer to him as Sir Didi here in the Big Apple.
The way he's playing, they will call him Sir for a long time.
Giancarlo Stanton walked in the first. Tomlin has struck him out his last 2 times up. And that walk came after Tomlin had him essentially retired on a foul ball out, but Gomes and Alonso ran into each other in front of the Yankee dugout, and the ball popped loose. Gomes has nobody to run into him here. 2 down. Gary Sanchez, last time up, just leaned into him.
Yeah, they tried to get it up and out of the strike zone, but he got on top of it. 110 miles an hour, almost 111, 461 feet, and he has as much power. You know, they talk about Judge, they talk about Stanton. Sanchez is right up there with those guys. He can hit it a long way, and he did, but it only counts for 1.
By the way, and certainly I understand if you're a fan and you don't care about anything but winning and losing, I get that, I understand it. But what Josh Tomlin has done here tonight goes a long way for his teammates, his manager, coaches.
Well,
he's giving the bullpen another chance to catch its breath. You know, yeah, he's given up 5 runs. They've hurt him with the long ball, but he's pitching into the 7th inning.
Hey, anytime you're going to play the Yankees, you better score 5 runs or you don't have a chance to win. You know, he gave up 5. This is a team that's averaging more than that per game.
Yeah. Great point.
And I'll tell you what, the doubleheader yesterday, 20 innings in the book, 4 relievers that can't pitch today. He's done a heck of a job.
5-0 New York as we head to the 8th. All right, thanks, Al and Jensen. And thanks to all of you tuning in tonight. Hope you're enjoying your Friday evening wherever you're at. Chasen Shreve is the third Yankee pitcher to work here this evening. The left-hander has the bottom third of the order, and man, he's done a heck of a job.
Yeah.
He's pitched 11 innings. 12 innings and 11 appearances, 4 walks, 16 strikeouts.
Yeah, you look at that, the numbers that they put up, and you know, right now they're on that such a roll that the starter can go 6, and then you can give your guys innings at a time, and you score a little runs, you get a little breathing room, and they're not stressed out. They're in a good place right now.
Yan Gomes looks at the ball outside. Upstairs, 3-0.
Yeah, with only actually 4 base runners on the night, they haven't walked anybody. Yankees pitching. They've got a blue pit, an infield hit, and 2 doubles. So they haven't been able to generate things offensively and get your base runners. You know, and no mistakes made. The Indians have made 2 errors tonight. Only one have really cost them.
Pop back out of play. 46,869 the attendance here tonight. It's the second sellout of the year for the Yankees. They did have an Aaron Judge bobblehead giveaway, and it is Star Wars night,
right?
But big crowd, and you know, as long as I've been coming here, every time I walk in to this ballpark or the old ballpark, which looked a lot like this one, it's different. It's just a different atmosphere here.
Well, it took us about an hour and 10 minutes to get to the ballpark today, and when we got outside,
it did. It was all of an hour and 10 minutes.
Yeah, it was, and I mean, it was hopping. And we're talking at least 3 hours before the game.
What do you remember about your first game played in Yankee? Because I know when you came up, they were playing at Shea. They were renovating old Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, that's right.
But your second year, what do you remember the first time you came here? Was it different? Do you remember it being, oh, wow, this is Yankee Stadium?
Yeah, and I mean, you know, you heard about it. You've seen it on television. You heard all the stories and the great players that played there. You walk in there, and it was intense. The fans were intense. So yes, it's something that you're like a sponge. You take in, but if you do well on the big stage, they respect you for it. They may boo their own players, but you know, for having a bad night, they respect the road players that come in to do a good job and beat their Yankees too.
Archie's first game here was 1976, and in his first at bat, Yankee Stadium, he doubled off a future Hall of Famer, Jim Catfish Hunter.
Okay.
Raj with a liner in the left field and a base hit, and the Indians had their first 2 aboard here in the 8th inning off Chasen Shreve, and now the Yankee bullpen is going to get busy.
Well, that's what we like. You like base runners. You like a little action on the bases. This one just out of the reach. Looked like a changeup and stayed a little bit up. And it made it a little bit easier for Raj to get after it, and that ball just had enough topspin to get it under the glove of Gregorius into the outfield. So first and second, nobody out. Now Sanchez will take a little stroll to the mound and let that bullpen get loose.
The reason I brought this up, Arch, is because, you know, I've only been coming to Yankee Stadium, I don't know, around 20 or so years. I think the first time I came was 96, 97, whenever the Indians won the postseason against them that first time.
Right.
And it seems like it's always packed or close to packed. But I went back and looked. When you first came here, now granted, it's May 26, 1976, the attendance that night was 13,000 people. That's shocking to me to think. I can't imagine Yankee Stadium with only 13,000 people in it. And that was a year
That was 76.
in which they went to the World Series.
Well, they would just start. I guarantee it wasn't that way in the summer months. You know, I don't remember the crowds, but I remember playing in front of a lot of big crowds in a Yankee Stadium. And
the 1-0. Zimmer with a high fly ball, deep center field. Hicks is back. He's out of room. It's out of here. Bradley Zimmer says hello. A 3-run homer in the 8th, and the Indians are right back in it.
you talk about a towering shot. He slowed it down for him, and he hit it a long way. Zimmer, his second home run, and that's a 3-pointer. And guess what? Try back into this ball game now. This might have been a changeup. It wasn't a good fastball, I know that. But let's take a look. Oh yeah, that was a changeup at 85. It wasn't a breaking ball. It stayed right there, and boy, he got under it. It had the topspin to it. Hicks runs out of room, and that is a 3-pointer. Try back in it. 5-3.
In ball player parlance, that's a BP fastball, isn't it?
Yeah, you would think so. BP fastball where you just throw it, absolutely. But he wasn't trying to throw it in that count. I mean, you're speeding up the bat as Zimmer.
Boy, Bradley Zimmer, he absolutely swatted that baseball. So on a night where we have seen some big, loud home runs, the Indians finally have one of their own. And down 2 now, still nobody out. That's the beauty of what just transpired. Still plenty of time and 6 outs to play with to try and rally. They need a base runner now to get the tying run to the plate.
Well, that's what you needed. You needed that spark.
Lindor doubled in that 6th inning to extend his streak. Takes outside. This is why managing is such a tough racket. You're up 5-0. You're cruising along. The Indians have done nothing all night long, and then 3 batters later, it's a ball game in the scramble in the bullpen.
What started it? A walk, base knock, mistake pitch, dinger. There you go. There's 3 quick ones on the board, and that's coming from 7, 8, and 9.
And Shreve had given up.
It's been lights out.
He'd given up 1 earned run this year.
Yeah, in his 12 innings, he allowed just 7 hits.
Sanchez begging for that one, didn't get the call. 2-2. Was talking with the home plate umpire, Tim Timmons.
Yeah, you can see when you turn your head, he wanted it inside. It was in off the plate. You see where he catches it. He was going to hold it and frame it. They want that pitch, but it was inside.
In the dirt, full count.
You get this man aboard, and well, it'll be interesting to see what Aaron Boone does. You've got the right-hander out there loose and ready to go, but you got the left-hander on deck. And if he gives up the 4th straight guy on base, well, you got to think about it.
Base hit into left field for Lindor. 4 straight have reached to open the 8th for the Indians. And now Jason Kitten is headed to the plate, and Aaron Boone says, I don't care if he's left-handed, right-handed, I need another pitcher in here.
Well, and you said Kip's hitting left-handers pretty well, so yeah, there you go. He's going to go get the right-hander to bring him in for Kipnis. So the Indians, this is good news right now.
3 runs have scored. The first 4 have all reached for the Indians. We got a ball game in the Bronx. Rest of the inning, Bradley Zimmer, big fly.
Yeah, let's check the hang time on this. 6.3 seconds. He had the top spin. Look how far he hit that ball with that kind of hang time. Over 106 miles per hour. And that had to feel good, boy. It gave that dugout a jolt of energy. Lindor comes back and knocks Shreve out of the ball game. And now it's time for David Robertson, coming up for the 16th time. 2-1 record, 2.93 ERA. Not many hits. He's got a good curveball, a good cutter, and a really good fastball too.
Robertson fires, and Jason Kipnis wasn't going to spot him, fouls it back. Robertson, acquired last year by the Yankees from the White Sox along with Todd Frazier, and he was really big for them. 3 1/3 scoreless innings in the wild card game against Minnesota. Threw 52 pitches in that game. Kipnis, ground ball, Gregorius, he's gonna have to hurry, and he overslid the bag, and he's out. And Gregorius might be hurt.
Well, that's one play with the shift on where he had to beat him the bag. There was nobody to flip it to.
He might be dazed after that collision at second base. Lindor, they're both going in there as hard as they can.
I wonder if his foot caught him as he's trying to slide away from it, and Didi was trying to, tag it. Look at, they're looking in his eyes. I don't know if he bumped his head or what.
He looks like he's all right. Maybe have a little ringing in the ear. I mean, that was a pretty good collision. I mean, they're both going head first for the bag, and sometimes, let's see, is it heads colliding?
See, Frankie was sliding away from him. He went to slide, and look at his foot. I think his foot hit him in the back of the head. We couldn't see it on that part. There it is. Yeah, he gets kicked in the back of the head. His leg comes up, and there it was. He's fine, but he got him. He tagged him out.
Dazed him a little bit. So Kipnis at first on the fielder's choice. And with one out, the batter is Jose Ramirez. I think what makes Robertson valuable and why the Yankees went out and got him last year is that he can, as he proved in the playoffs, he can give you some length. A lot like Andrew Miller. You don't think of him as just a matchup
multi-inning guy.
Yeah, if need be. Now, you don't want to do that a lot during the regular season. But
right. No, not with their bullpen, but I'll tell you, he has very good stuff. Started him off with a fastball, comes back and drops that hook in there. Has him down in the count 0-2.
Ramirez with 2 hits on the night. And by the way, Lindor with the base hit in this 8th inning. That's his 7th, I'm sorry, that's his 6th straight multi-hit game.
Yeah, it is. That's right.
Unfortunately, he was forced out at second on the ground ball by Kipnis. But the Indians still have the tying run at the plate. Yankees playing that shift, 3 to the right side, but they flip-flopped Gregorius and Andujar.
Pretty good take on the curveball right there by Ramirez, because this is one it's a really tight spun curveball, and you expect him to swing at that pitch because it's so close, but he spit on it, man. That was a good take.
After he didn't swing at it, I'm thinking Robertson might have said, he's looking fastball, I'm going to throw that curveball again. Not necessarily, though.
I know it.
Well,
the game of cat and mouse, you know?
Good luck trying to figure out what Ramirez is thinking.
He's thinking, I want to hit a ball hard, son. Yeah, that's a good fastball. After that, followed that hook you're talking about, Matt. And he was trying to dot the outside corner with it. Now, let's take a look and see where it was. It was absolutely away. So he works a count, gets it back to a full count. I bet he comes back with that hook. He started him off with it. Let's see if he tries to finish him off with it.
Got a piece. Stays alive. He did come back to it.
Yeah, that's his pitch. He's got a good feel for it. It seems like at times he can tighten it up a little bit more than normal, you know, and throw it in there for a strike if he wants, or he can take just a hair off and make it bend a little bit and get out of the zone like that 1-2 pitch that Ramirez was able to take. But when you get to a full count, hitters, sometimes that patience wanes away.
Fastball. Ramirez turns it around. Deep right center field. Gone to the bullpen. Brand new game, tied at 5. Jose Ramirez with his 9th home run of the year and his 3rd hit of the night.
How about that? What a great at bat.
Archie, I saw Sanchez call for the fastball away, but that's not where that pitch ended up. And Ramirez made him pay dearly for it.
2 big home runs in this inning, and they've got another big inning on the board, a 5 spot. Oh, he left the fastball right there. You know what? He only threw one other fastball in that at bat, and that was the one away that he missed with. And Ramirez was waiting for that pitch from the very first pitch, but he tied it up. Clutch hitting.
Offense coming to the rescue here in the 8th inning against the Yankees bullpen that has been virtually unblemished so far this year. Now Edwin, still only 1 out in the inning, and he pops it up. Let's see who's going to call for it. Gardner and Hicks converge. Hicks, the center fielder, 2 down. Last year, Jay Bruce off David Robertson. Remember in game 2? That tied the game. That was a huge home run that set the late inning dramatics for the Indians. And now here tonight, kaboom. Jose Ramirez tying it up with a 5. What is it with the big inning now?
I don't know, but I mean, they were going where they couldn't score it right.
A 9-run inning and now a 5-run inning.
You know, maybe it's just that offense says, okay, base runners, give me a couple of base runners and they can get it rolling. They got the first 2 on, 3-run homer. Lindor gets on, little fielder's choice. Ramirez, 2-run homer.
Well, let's see if Tyler Naquin can come off the bench and give the Indians a jolt. Tyler Naquin has hit .321 against right-handed pitching. And he's got another knock here. That's in the gap. Will he go for 2? He turns.
Yes.
He puts the brakes on, and a wise move as he goes back to first.
That's now you see he did that the other day in Cleveland, and he continued to go, and he was thrown out. That time he made an aggressive turn, He put the brakes on about a third of the way on, and it was a nice throw by Hicks. He would have been out again if he goes, but I love the aggressiveness of Tyler running the bases. He's got his swing grooved a little bit too. That line drive going the other way, Matt, he's been doing that frequently. So another base hit in the inning. That's 5 now.
And the 9th man to bat is Yonder Alonso, who is 1 for 3 tonight. The Indians have now out-hit the Yankees 9-8.
Well, they only had up until this inning is 4 hits. The last one was an infield single by Ramirez. He, you know, cued it off the end of the bat. See, he didn't like that call. 1-0 count. That ball was low, and he got the call. And the umpire now, Timmons, is saying to him, it was down, absolutely down. Now they get the call.
This sellout crowd of 46,869 stunned by the Indians' fireworks here in the 8th.
Yeah, stunned, shocked, yes.
And now that pitch didn't look any better than the first one he called a strike.
Well, let's look at the fastball. No, those pitches are done. I think he did it because he said something the last time. Both those pitches were out of the zone. Bad calls.
Alonso sends a fly ball left field. Gardner is in and makes the catch. 9 to the plate, and the Indians have a 5-run inning. A 3-run blast for Zimmer, a 2-run shot for Ramirez.
Just got thrown out.
Alonso obviously objecting to some of the bad calls Tim Timmons made. And look, we're just going by what we saw on the screen. They were bad calls.
I watched him after he popped out and he ran down the line. I knew he had something to say to him, and he turned around and said something. And he didn't hesitate. He didn't even let him come walking back, and he threw him out. But the Indians tied the game. Alexei Ogando just getting called up from Columbus, where he was starting down there. He's 2-0 with a 289 earned run average. So Josh Tomlin, he gives you that 7. He has a no decision. He gave up 5 runs and 8 hits, but
only 4 earned.
Yeah, that's correct. No, you're right. The error cost him was a 3-run homer.
Aaron Hicks 0 for 3 on the night. Fouled straight back. Eric Gonzalez taking over for Yonder Alonso at first base, and if you missed it earlier, the Indians had a decision to make. Tyler Naquin now in right field, whether or not to keep either Eric Gonzalez or Gio Urshela. Urshela came off the disabled list. Both players were out of options, which means they could not be sent to the minors. And the Indians decided to keep Gonzalez. And a swing and a miss. Aaron Hicks is out number 1. Now, it doesn't mean that Urshela is gone for certain. He is designated for assignment. That means everybody will have a shot to sign him. And if for whatever reason, you know, maybe teams won't have roster space, maybe they can't use him, they don't need a guy, he could find his way back to the Indians organization.
So possibility is there. You're right.
You never know. But from what we saw from Urshela, just from a pure defensive standpoint, I would think somebody would snap him up. We'll see. Alexi Ogando, interesting story. He's 34 years old. And in the offseason, you know, he was looking for a job to be a starter. He pitched in Korea last year because he wanted to be a starter. He had only pitched out of the bullpen in the previous couple of years for Texas, Boston, and Atlanta. So he went to Korea, got the innings under his belt as a starter, and he went looking for a job this offseason, past offseason, in a starting role. And the Indians said to him, we really don't have any openings, but sure, you want to come to camp? Sure, come on, we'll have you. And that's where he decided to go. But as camp wore on, there really wasn't an opening for a starter. But Ogando really wasn't interested necessarily in a bullpen role, so he went to AAA, continued to start.
Right.
But now the opportunity is, there's a role in the bullpen if you like it.
Right now, yes, and he's at the big league level. And he's done both. He's been out of the bullpen and he has started. So his love or passion is a starter. Well, don't worry, you'll get some work.
The good news is, because he's already stretched out and built up, you know, he could always step into the starting role if needed, or he could give you some length out of the bullpen. Who knows? We'll see. 3-1 popped up and out of play.
Quickly, guys, I talked to Dan Otero, who's down today. He was really down yesterday as well, but he still came in and pitched. And I asked him, what's it like with all these new guys coming in the bullpen? And he told me, he goes, the one thing the Indians organization does that stands out to him after being in multiple organizations is that they get strike throwers. He said, look at what happened in yesterday's game. The Indians have pitchers that threw strikes. Toronto had to call guys up that did not throw strikes. He says that makes a big difference in fitting in a bullpen when you have the situation that they're dealing with right now.
Boy, you're right. It made a difference in yesterday's game. It was like you revert back to the minor leagues. And
foul on the right side. I remember at one point we looked at, I think there had been 8 walks. Last I remember checking, 8 walks issued in the second game of that doubleheader by Toronto.
Oh, that's
just way too many extra base runners.
They brought guys in, they walked the bases loaded yesterday. The first guy.
Popped out of play again. Yeah, that was the final tally. 8 walks issued by Toronto in that game yesterday. 4 by the starter, 4 by the bullpen. Ogando was behind 3-0. He's going right at Neil Walker here. Walker keeps fouling pitch after pitch off. And there's another one. 9th pitch of the at-bat. And he draws a walk. Wow.
Well, he earned it.
Tell you what. Fought him tooth and nail. The Yankees have the go-ahead run aboard for Miguel Andujar, who singled in the 2nd and reached on a critical error in the 4th and came around to score on the home run by Gleyber Torres when the Yankees jumped out to the early lead. Anagondo gets a hit, strike 1.
Looks like either a really tight slider or maybe a cutter. One of the two.
Well, this guy burst onto the scene and raised a lot of eyebrows because he had an extra base hit in 7 straight games in April. The only Yankee younger than Miguel Andujar to accomplish that feat was Joe DiMaggio back in 1937.
Yeah, I remember watching this feat he was doing.
I thought you were going to say you remember watching DiMaggio.
No, but for him to come back, he burst onto the scene, and that's, I'm telling you, what's helped this Yankees offense with these young kids coming on and having an impact because you know, they're all part of that lineup. Of course, the big boys get all the glory, but these guys are doing some very good work.
Out of play. Joe DiMaggio.
That's another streak we talk about. We were talking about Ricky's earlier, that hit streak. I don't think anybody's going to get to 56 again either.
I don't know.
Not today, not as hard as it is. And you're facing different pitchers. I just don't think it will be.
Chop to Ramirez. Goes to second. There's one. Kipnis tries to turn 2. But Andujar beats it out by a whisker.
Yeah, good job of hustling down the line by Andujar. Ramirez got over to catch this ball. He got it before it was going to hit again. Takes a step, gets it to Kipnis. Now you see he did everything he could to get it on, and that was boy, a bang bang play at first. Here's a good angle to look at. That's what's coming when the runners come into you, and you can see the foot on the bag.
You don't see that hardly ever anymore.
Where a guy falls over.
Where you get the second baseman taken out on a double play.
Oh, yeah.
Essentially tried to legislate that out of the game. But that was good old-fashioned ball right there. Gleyber Torres lined it in the left field, a base hit. That's his second knock of the night. And the Yankees have 2 on with 2 out for Brett Gardner.
Well, he's got that leg kick, and there's one that stayed middle of the plate. That's why he got hurt on it. There's a base hit to left field. So you get back to the top of the order. Brett Gardner now as Gomes goes out and has a chat with Ogando. Now look, this is the first time Gomes has had an opportunity to catch him, so they want to make sure they're on the same page when it comes to the signs with a runner in scoring position.
Well, you got Brett Gardner coming up, 1 for 3 on the night. And when this guy's going well at the plate, he can drive you nuts because he'll foul off pitch after pitch after pitch.
It's a good way of putting it. Drive you nuts. It's like a gnat flying around your face. You just can't retire him easily.
Down and in.
And you know, I'll tell you, I think the best thing you could say about him as a hitter is he doesn't give away at-bats. He makes you work very hard to get him out.
You're right.
You know, and he just doesn't go up there and say, okay, I'm going to see the first fastball and put it in play. He is a tough out.
Now, he hasn't gotten off to the kind of start that he's used to. But we've already seen in Cleveland how quickly that can change, especially with guys who have a track record. You know, I mentioned earlier that Josh Tomlin is the longest tenured Indian, and he got the start for the Tribe tonight. CC Sabathia, he would be the longest tenured Yankee if not for this guy.
Right.
Brett Gardner has him by 72 games from the previous season when Sabathia came over here.
Gotcha.
But essentially, they've both been here 9 years, now in their 10th season together. But Gardner had some games the year before CC got here. But you look at Gardner, you don't think, man, he's been here that long. But he has.
Yes, he has. Yeah, a long time. And right now, he's not going to swing unless he has to. 3-0 count.
Remember back in the second inning, Josh Tomlin inadvertently hit Gardner with a pitch and loaded the bases for Aaron Judge. One more wide one, and Elgando will have done the same thing here in the 8th.
Well, you just don't want to throw him a cookie here, though. You have to make a quality pitch.
And he missed. Ball 4. The bases are loaded for the second time tonight for Aaron Judge. Carl Willis will go to the mound. There is no action in the Cleveland bullpen, as Andre reported earlier. The bullpen is short right now. They've got some guys that are in desperate need of a night off. None of them asked for it, but Tito said, look, we need you for the long haul, so none of you are pitching tonight. So they need a Gondo to try and pull them through.
Well, now you're going to get this house rocking because this is how they want it. You know, even though 2 outs, bases loaded, they've got their young star up at the plate. And you know what they want? They want him to hit one out of sight and drive in 4, and that's what you're hoping for. But you make your pitches here. You settle in, and a big pitch would be the first one.
That's a pretty good slider first pitch. Judge probably sitting fastball first pitch.
Yeah, you sit fastball, and you see it has the spin. It is just, that's a little cut.
Yeah, doesn't
a little
have
slider.
much.
No.
.95, but low. Now, I don't know if he can effectively use it with a right-hander at the plate, but Tito said one of the things that he saw from Gondo that he liked back in camp was a changeup. And he felt like that could be a pitch that gives him an opportunity to resurrect his big league career. But again, with a right-hander, maybe not a pitch he can use. We'll see. The 1-1.
Good fastball. Wow. Yeah, painted the outside. Very, very well done. You look away. Look at Gomes' glove. Oh, man, that's perfect pitch.
And Agano reaching back. He's still getting the mid-90s. Bases loaded, 2 out. The 1-2 pitch. Now the 2-2. Fastball. But a couple of times maybe reaching reaching back for a little something extra. Sometimes you sacrifice command. And now he's put himself in a tough predicament. This crowd is rocking. The runners will be moving. He's got to throw a strike. And the payoff.
Three walks in the inning. He was ahead of him and just couldn't put him away.
Back-to-back walks. Really crucial. So Alexei Agano's first outing as an Indian, rocky at best. And he's not out of the woods. This should do it. Lindor, hauling everybody off, makes the grab. Yankees take the lead. 6-5 as we go to the ninth.
Reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cleveland Indians.
Revisiting our storylines brought to you by your Ford dealers. Who will shine on the big stage? Well, the Indians, they had 5 big runs in the 8th inning as they rallied back to tie this game up. A couple of long home runs, especially from Bradley Zimmer, and Jose Ramirez also getting out of here. Didi Gregorius, well, he hasn't had any impact in this game, but the Yankees have the lead. And a frustrating way to give it back on a bases loaded walk to Aaron Judge.
Yeah, 2-out walk.
Aroldis Chapman on to try and close it for New York. Pitches outside, ball 1 to Yan Gomes. Oh, Gary Sanchez. Tell you one thing I've noticed a lot with Sanchez too. He really holds it and waits a long time if he doesn't like the call.
That may be his way of telling.
Don't like that.
No, they don't like that, but that may be just, you know, posing and letting them know that he thought it was a pretty good pitch.
Pop back out of play. Now the 1-1. 99 miles an hour, and he almost threw it through the backstop. But that is not a case where sometimes you see a pitcher throwing really high and they're overthrowing. That is Aroldis Chapman. He is a guy who can throw it and does routinely throw it 100 miles an hour or more. And Gary Sanchez is just having a tough time catching it.
Boy, this is what you like to see out of Chapman. Let him struggle to try to find that release point, because sometimes once they lock in, the night could be over. But if you take everything, make sure he gets in there with 3-1 count. Just don't automatically think he's going to throw a strike and get after the fastball. Make it in your zone or even take one.
Yan Gomes turns it around and a line drive single into left field. 98 miles an hour coming in. It probably went out at well over 100. Well, the last time these two guys squared off, at least I think it's the last 2 times they squared off late in the game with everything on the line, was in the World Series.
How about that? You just showed that back on the last homestand. And remember how much he was choking up on the bat at that time. So
let's check the bat and see what he's got.
Yeah, we'll see what he's got offering. He's up a little bit.
Yes, he
sure is. I'll start him off with a slider. I'm not going to throw him that first fastball.
Called a strike, but it looked like it was up out of the zone. In any event, Davis down 0-1.
Yeah, he's got to keep Gomes close. You know, it's funny because when he came set in this first windup, Gomes was pretending like he was getting off the base. He was just messing with him. But he threw over there.
He has gotten to 0-2 on Rajai Davis with off-speed pitches. He hasn't shown him the fastball.
Yeah, but now you can throw anything you want. It's tough enough to catch up to his fastball, but he can throw his slider anytime he wants and still throw it for strikes. It's just half the time when he gets that fastball going, let's go. If he can put it where he wants to, you can't hit it.
It was the slider that Rajai hit out for the home run in Cleveland. But he threw the fastball by at 100 miles an hour, and that is nothing new. Aroldis Chapman this year has struck out 7 batters on pitches over 100 miles an hour. The only other 2 pitchers in baseball who have done that, his teammate Luis Severino, who's done it once, and Tayron Guerrero, the flamethrower down in with
Miami.
the Marlins.
Yeah.
Talking about over 100 miles an hour. Don't know what the exact reading on that one was. We had it at 100. It might have been a tick over.
100, 101. Who's counting? It's just tough enough. Anything above 95 is, I mean, very, very, very hard to hit.
Zimmer's drill. That can't feel very good, even with that armor on. So now 2 aboard. Tying run into scoring position.
Yeah, he wanted to stay inside on Zimmer. You can see that's what they wanted. Boy, he did. And it sounded like it hit that padding because he didn't look like he was in pain. So thank goodness he was wearing that there.
99 mile an hour fastball. Pad or no pad, that had to hurt. Well, here's Francisco Lindor. Already 2 hits tonight. Called a strike at 99 miles an hour.
You see where Sanchez is sitting. He was sitting sort of inside and he had to reach back and backhand it, but it was close.
100 miles an hour is in the hole 0-2. To the backstop it goes, and look at this ricochet halfway up the third baseline, and now there are 2 runners in scoring position. The tying runs at third, go ahead run at second. Now a base hit could give the Indians the lead.
Boy, how big is this? You put the tying go ahead run. He just uncorked one, and he was hopping off the mound trying to help him. But look at the kick it gets. It deflects away from Sanchez, but the runners move up. Now sac fly could tie it. The infield comes in. Oh, I would love with Zimmer on second base to see a little bloop over the infield here, because the outfielders stay deep when the infield comes in a situation like this. You don't have to hit line drives. You could get a little bloop off this bat. If you're Frankie, try and get him to get that. It's easier said than done. That fastball down a little bit more.
Yeah, and I was thinking to myself, that's got to be the hardest thing for a hitter, because you have almost no time to really.
And you pick it up better up here than you do down here.
Infield in, 1-2 pitch. Oh, he's going to ring him up. And 101. Two down.
Well, he comes back and that's my best pitch. That ball's down.
Wow.
See, that's tough to pick up. You see it better high, but when that ball's at your knees, boy, that ball is by you. It's like a low dart.
101. It comes down to Jason Kipnis. With second and third, 2 out. The infield backs up for New York. Normal depth. Chapman he's finally loose. He's pumping it in there over 100 miles an hour now. The best bolt that Chapman has fired this year that has resulted in a strikeout was 101.9. And that was yesterday. $46,869, second sellout crowd of the year here at Yankee Stadium, and It looks like every single one of them are up on their feet. The 0-2 to Kipnis. To the backstop. Here comes the tying run. Gold scores.
How about that? 2 wild pitches. That one gets away. Gomes moves up. Zimmer to third base. And the Indians come back to tie it with 2 outs. And watch Chapman as he comes in. That goes way off the glove. Not much you can do when it's 100 miles an hour. Watch Chapman trying to block the plate. Gomes, and that's right. You go in with those spikes, man, and move them off the plate.
That hit the umpire.
Boy, it sure looked like it from that angle.
Sanchez never got leather on that thing.
That was, I did not see that on the first replay.
Yeah, that glanced off Tim Timmons' face mask.
But
wow.
2 wild pitches. Well, the Indian, oh yes it did. It was past his glove before he even got it up.
2 wild pitches and a hit batter, and now the go-ahead run is at third base.
Well, the Indians gave the Yankees their run with walks. The Yankees return the favor with a hit batter and a couple of wild pitches.
Never a dull moment. Now the 1-2. To end the inning. That'll send us to the bottom of the 9th. Back to a brand new ball game once again. The wildness of Chapman has tied the game at 6. His first inning in an Indians uniform was rough. He walked 3, gave up a hit, walked in the go-ahead run at the time. Now back out here, and Giancarlo Stanton greets him with a double up the alley in right center.
Yeah, watch his swing. It's a little bit shorter, and that pitch was down and away, but he has great extension. That's why closing off sort of helped him. He didn't come off the ball, but he still gets it to the wall. And he didn't overswing, so it's a double for Stanton, and the Yankees back in business.
Terry Francona is coming to the mound as the players get together. I don't know if he's ready to make a move because I can't see if there's anybody up in the Cleveland pen right now.
There is somebody up and throwing, a right-hander. I can't tell who it is.
He pointed with his left hand, but it's Cody Allen.
Oh, okay. So he's going to bring Cody in here in this situation, trying to keep this a tie game.
Well, we've got a timeout here in New York. 6-6, bottom of the ninth. Yankees have the winning run at second with nobody out. Was the Jose Ramirez at bat in the 8th inning.
Yeah, what an at bat that was. That's the pitch right there that he laid off, and they fouled that cutter off there, and then they missed with the fastball, but he's going to make another breakable. Watch the fastball he hits. He left that middle of the plate, and Jose did not miss that pitch. It tied it up at 5. Boy, the action's been coming from the 8th inning on in this one. The Yankees had a big 4th and one in the 5th, and the Indians waited till the 8th until they scored.
Yankees led 6-5 going into the 9th. Dating back to the start of last year, New York 99-4 when leading after 8 innings. Cody Allen trying to hold the fort now after the leadoff double by Giancarlo Stanton off Alexi Agondo.
Well, and Allen last year against the Yankees appeared in 3 games, went 3 1/3 innings, gave up just 1 hit, struck out 5 in his career. He's 0-1 but with 7 saves. He's trying to get this game to extra innings.
1 ball, 1 strike. The 1-2. Did he go?
Yes.
They appeal. They say he didn't go.
Hard to tell from that angle.
And the 2-2. Right center field. Naquin, the right fielder, makes the catch. Giancarlo tagged, but good thing he held up.
Yeah.
For him.
Naquin, good throwing arm from right field, so he could not get him over. They get their first out. Well done.
Aaron Hicks is 0 for 4 tonight, has struck out a couple of times. Right-hander Jonathan Holder is getting loose in the Yankee bullpen. Should we go to the 10th inning? There's the winning run for New York. Hicks has seen his fair share of Cody Allen, I guess. 6 plate appearances. One ball, one strike. One hopper. Gonzalez, good play. Cody beats him to the bag, 2 down. Boy, that was really well done on a tricky play at first there for Eric Gonzalez, who just came into the game as when Alonso got ejected.
He's not even a first baseman, but watch Cody. He was a little late getting over there, but then he kicked it into gear. And did you see what Gonzalez did? He flipped it over there in a hurry and he led him to the base. Now, not a bad play for a guy not even being a first baseman, but that was close at first base, but they get the second out.
2 down. Winning run at third for New York. Neil Walker, the batter. He has 2 hits. He has also walked and has scored a run. And a strike is called.
Good pitch. He went there. Just like Kipnis said, yeah. Walker said, I didn't think so. He was trying to hold it and show it. And look at Mooney, didn't think so. But there's the breaking ball. Now, look at Gomes, wanted to check it. Okay, that's enough. I'm thinking Kipnis was similar to that. Hard to tell.
2-strike pitch. And he pulls it foul. Neil Walker spent most of the last 2 seasons with New York's other team, the Mets. In 2016, he batted .282 for the Mets with 23 homers. Last year, just .264, 10 home runs. And then traded to the Milwaukee Brewers for the stretch run. And now he's found a home here with the Yankees. Just missed outside. Signed a 1-year deal with New York on March 12th.
Yeah, it was a late sign.
Another one of those guys who was just couldn't find a home. The 1-2 in the dirt. A great stop by Gomes.
Well, we know one thing. Leon Gomes, if he's calling for that fastball, he's never afraid to block it. He knows, he anticipated, he expects it down there, and does a beautiful job keeping it in front of him.
Winning run at third for the Yankees. 2-2 pitch. High, full count. Ball four. Walker draws a free pass. And it will bring up Miguel Andujar. He scored 2 runs on the night.
He worked the walk. He had him down in the count. 0-2. He couldn't put him away. I wanted him to swing at that curveball. He wasn't going to make a mistake. Andujar, though, I don't think has ever faced Cody Allen. So.
Andujar had a single back in the 2nd inning. Boy, he took a vicious hack. They let the runner go from first to second because that doesn't mean anything to the Indians. And they don't want to give up any defensive positioning with the game on the line here. Pretty much spread out defensively. No shift really. Lindor pulled around. He's out on the outfield grass. Shortstop. 1-1. A wicked curveball, and it's 1-2. Watch the rotation on this baby.
And a big swing. Comes up empty.
Bottom of the 9th. 2 on, 2 out. And Cody steps off. Now the 1-2. Blooped, right center, drop in. The New York Yankees stay red hot. They have won now 13 out of 14 to get to 22-10 on the year. The Indians drop a tough one by a final score of 7-6. And the Indians are now 17-15 on the year. Here is another look at the game winner.
That's a breaking ball, but you can see it's above the, the hitting zone, but he was able to get enough of it and get it to fall in. That's not where he wanted the breaking ball. It stayed up top, and he put the ball in play, and the Yankees are going to walk it off here in the bottom half of the 9th inning.
The winning pitcher is Aroldis Chapman. Ironic in that he blew the save but got the win. The loss will go to Alexi Ogando in his Indians debut. Time of the game, 3 hours and 22 minutes. And once again, the attendance here tonight, 46,869. We're right back here tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock for game 2 of this 3-game weekend series. Well, Al Jensen, this is a kick in the teeth because we knew the team was going to be tired. They knew they were kind of exhausted coming in after the doubleheader yesterday. Late arrival. They didn't get to the hotel till 3 a.m. But boy, what a job to fight back with that 5-run 8th inning. And then it looks like we're headed to extras, and the Yankees wriggle off the hook.